How to make an offer on a house in Texas, home buying, step 9. Up to this point, every step in this series has been about preparation and evaluation. You've built your team, you've learned how financing actually works, you've looked at houses realistically and narrowed the field to homes that genuinely make sense for you. Now we've reached the step where preparation turns into commitment. This is the point where home buying stops being theoretical and becomes formal, time sensitive, and legally binding. In Texas, when you make an offer on a house and both parties sign that offer, the offer becomes the contract. There is no separate offer phase followed by a later contract phase. Once it's signed, timelines start immediately, obligations exist, and your decisions begin to matter immediately. That's why what you ask for, what you waive, and what timelines you agree to all matter before you ever schedule an inspection. Most residential transactions in Texas use the standard 1 to 4 family residential contract along with standard amendments. These forms are designed to handle the vast majority of situations buyers and sellers encounter in real life. The forms are not perfect, but when used correctly, they cover pricing, repairs, inclusions and exclusions, timelines, and negotiations without custom drafting. And that matters because Texas realtors are not attorneys. If you want custom legal language written into a contract, that requires a Texas real estate attorney. What an agent can do is help you understand how the standard forms work, how they're typically used, and how the decisions you make now affect everything that comes next. One of the most commonly misunderstood parts of making an offer is what actually stays with the house. Under the Texas contract, fixtures and permanently attached improvements convey unless they are specifically excluded. A simple rule of thumb is that if something is bolted down, it probably stays. But assumptions are where problems start. Appliances, mounted televisions and brackets, custom lighting, garage equipment, water softeners, outdoor cooking setups, these are all frequent sources of confusion. I've seen sellers remove items they believed were personal property because they installed them. I've also seen buyers shocked when something they assumed would stay was gone at move-in. Everything is negotiable, but only if clearly written into the contract. Another critical sequencing issue happens when buyers ask for repairs before inspection. At this point, you should view your offer as the most you're willing to pay for the house. And at this stage, you don't know what matters most. If you ask for minor repairs in the offer, the seller may agree and later resist addressing larger, more expensive problems uncovered during inspection. That's why inspection-related negotiations almost always happen after inspections and not before. The money you spend on inspections is a calculated risk. You're either buying information that saves you money later or tells you when to walk away. Beyond a general home inspection, specialized inspections are often worth considering. Plumbing inspections with cameras, electrical inspections, HVAC evaluations, well or septic inspections on rural properties. In some cases, having a structural engineer evaluate foundation concerns provides clearer information than a repair company because engineers sell analysis, not repairs. In much of West Texas and the Big Country, homes sit on red clay. Minor foundation movement is common. Cracked walls, popped foundation corners, or ceiling stress lines are often expected to some degree. Almost every home here will show some foundation-related issue, major or minor. The goal isn't finding a home with no issues. It's understanding which issues are manageable and which ones aren't. Slab homes deserve special attention because plumbing and sewer lines often run through the slab. Foundation movement can create related plumbing problems. Pier and beam homes often avoid some slab risks, but foundation warranties on those systems are often shorter or limited. Rural properties add another layer of consideration when a home depends upon a single system. If a property relies on a private well with no nearby municipal water, that system deserves extra scrutiny. I've seen situations where a well appeared functional at purchase and failed shortly after closing. If something is mission critical and has no backup, it may require deeper inspection. That is not paranoia, it's prudence. Home warranties are also common asks in Texas transactions, and for good reason. Even well maintained homes can surprise you. A home warranty doesn't replace inspections, but it can act as insurance during the first year of ownership. I've handled transactions where a major system failed shortly after closing and the warranty covered replacement. Be aware, however, that most warranty companies repair first and replace last, but the first year often provides meaningful protections. In markets where sellers won't provide a warranty, buying one yourself can be a reasonable hedge against the unknown. Negotiations at this stage are not about winning. Residential real estate is not a zero-sum game. Once your offer is accepted, you'll need cooperation through inspections, repairs, appraisals, and closing. Aggressive tactics often create resistance and delays. Sellers love their homes. They have memories attached to them. You don't announce plans to tear the homes apart and rebuild them in your image. Inspections, not confrontation, are how real problems get identified and resolved. Step 9 is where the process becomes formal, time sensitive, and legally binding. By the time you make an offer on a house in Texas, you should understand what you're committing to, what can be negotiated later, and which timelines matter. And when walking away is the right decision. In the next step, we're going to walk through what happens after acceptance, option periods, escrow, amendments, inspections, and why being under contract does not mean that the deal is done.